In this video, I'm going to teach you 2 different ways of throwing the cross. I'm going to teach you the technique on how to throw them. I'm going to tell you when you should throw them and when you shouldn't throw them. The first cross is the normal cross, which I've taught before on this channel, but I'm going to go over it quickly anyway. The technique for this: get in your stance, make sure the weight distribution is correct, 60% of the weight on your back foot. Then what you're going to do is with your hand right by your chin, you're going to keep the weight pressed in the back foot, rotate the back knee, the heel should turn around slightly. This will allow you to rotate your hips to this position where it's like perpendicular to the direction of your punch. Then with your arm nice and relaxed, you're going to let it flop out like this. When it gets to this position, it should be fully extended. Your shoulder should be up to your chin, your wrist should be kinked, and you should be looking straight down the sight. Keep your left hand up whilst you throw it, and then bring it straight back to your chin, like that. As you're bringing it back, your hip rotates back into the normal position. Also remember that your head shouldn't be coming forward. You shouldn't lean forward and try and reach. You need to keep your feet under you whilst you throw the punch. Nice. So when should you use this type of cross? You can use it during combinations as opposed to just at the end of a combination. You can use it when you're trying to land or line up bigger shots. So for example, you'd usually use the jab to line up the right hand or the left hook, but you can actually use the cross by throwing it from slightly in front of your face to get the range ready to set up the left hand. That means it needs to be fast and it doesn't need power in it. It just needs to catch them, measure the range, you know where they are, so you can land the left hook. This type of cross is also brilliant for doubling up. The other type of cross is not so much, but you can throw this punch twice in a row or 3 times in a row if you want. You're not coming over the front foot, or you're not returning to a specific position, which means that you can't just throw it again. So you can double it up, triple it up, quintuple it up if you want. When shouldn't you use this type of cross? When you believe that your opponent is trying to counter it. When you go to throw that right hand and they're there stepping, trying to come outside of it and throw their right hand down the middle, and that's when you shouldn't use it. And instead, you should use the second type of cross, the head off the center line cross. And it does what it says on the tin. As you throw it, you're dropping your head off the center line. Imagine the center line is where my head is now. We're dropping our head off that center line. As we do that, we're going to throw that punch. We do this by ever so slightly transferring the weight onto this front foot. And as we transfer this weight onto the front foot, we want to use that transfer of weight in our punch as well. So we sort of bring the punch down onto the target like this. You think you're throwing it from high to low. You don't want to, obviously, it's not a body shot, it's still a head shot. You want to drop it in on the target like that. You want to come right over here, keeping your head way off the center line, and use that force to bring the shot down. Now, you can either throw it with a fully straight arm, like that, or you can throw it as a little bit more of an overhand right, like that. But this is a great way to interception counter the jab or the right hand. You imagine someone's throwing a jab at me, I can take my head off the center line and come across. Or if they're throwing across, they could throw their right hand. Again, same story. I'm meeting them in that gap between their guard. Make sure after you've thrown this punch, after it's landed, you return to this original position where your hand comes back, and make sure as you're throwing it, your left hand stays high, as you're kind of vulnerable here for if you're fighting a southpaw, a lead hook, or if you're fighting an orthodox, a right hook. So when should you use this type of cross? You should use it to intercept a counter, like I just said. So you're dropping your head off the center line as they throw a punch and trying to land yours in the area they've left open from throwing their punch. You should use it at the end of combinations. So I'd use double jab and then I'd drop it in. I wouldn't try and throw it like twice because it takes too long for me to come all the way down here, all the way back to here, and all the way back here again. Unlike the normal cross, where I stay in the same position and I'm just pushing it out like that. It can be fired off as many times as you like. as long as you're staying on balance. If you know the power punch is there and you can see that you'd be able to land it, this is a great punch to throw when you've got your opponent on the ropes, tucked up. You can come tap, tap, come around the side with a whack and land that head off the center line cross. So when shouldn't you use this type of cross? You should never use it to try and measure the range on your opponent. That should be done with a jab or the normal cross. So never try and think, yeah, he's about there, and just send it. It's just not going to work for you. Also, you don't want to use this cross midway through combinations. It's quite hard unless, I suppose, you throw a left hook off it. It's quite hard to drop the weight down here and then come back for more punches. But if you are going to do this, then I'd throw the jab, drop the head off the center line, hope you made a miss with a cross, and then fire a left hook to the body. If you want to actually get better at boxing, then make sure you join my free school community, linked in the description. Leave a like, subscribe, bye.